In 1796, an English physician named Dr. Edward Jenner created the first ever vaccine, which protected against smallpox. He first observed that people who contracted cowpox seemed to be immune to smallpox. His experiment involved two people, a dairymaid named Sarah Nelms and an 8-year-old boy named James Phipps. First, Dr. Jenner took pus from a cowpox sore on the hand of Sarah Nelms. He then rubbed the cow pus onto small scratches made on James Phipps's arm. For the next 9 days, James experienced mild to moderate symptoms such as fever, chills, and a loss of appetite, but on the 10th day he was completely better. About 2 months after the experiment, Dr. Jenner attempted to infect James Phipps with smallpox, but found that he was now immune to the virus. Now, you may be wondering, what exactly is a vaccine? Well, a vaccine is a shot that is given to imitate a virus or disease in order to build up your body's immune system. Your body creates antibodies that attack the virus. Antibodies are a Y-shaped protein created by your immune system that help eliminate foreign invaders in order to keep the body healthy. These antibodies work in coordinates with specialized memory cells. If the memory cells identify that an entering pathogen has caused harm to the immune system before, they call for the antibodies to come and kill it. Beginning to talk about the different types of vaccines, there are more than 25 different vaccines that not only protect yourself and others from disease, but can also eliminate specific diseases entirely. These 25 life saving vaccines are broken down into 6 categories: inactivated, live attenuated, mRNA, subunit, toxoid, and finally viral vector, but we will mainly be focusing on 4 of these. First, inactivated vaccines contain a killed version of a virus, but don't worry because it can't cause you disease. Booster shots may be needed over time, and some well known diseases that are covered by inactivated vaccines are hepatitis A, flu, polio, and rabies. Live attenuated vaccines use a live but weakened version of a virus, meaning you should talk to your healthcare provider before getting. Just 1 or 2 doses are required for life, and the covered diseases include measles, rotavirus, smallpox, chickenpox, and yellow fever. mRNA vaccines introduce a piece of mRNA that instruct your cells to make antibodies to fight against a virus. This type of vaccine has become more popular with it being used for some COVID-19 vaccines. Subunit vaccines use specific pieces of a germ, such as the sugar, protein, or casing, that gives a very strong immune response targeted to those key parts of the germ. Covered diseases include hepatitis B, HPV, whooping cough, pneumococcal disease, meningococcal disease, and shingles. Amazingly, some diseases and viruses have been eliminated. The elimination of a disease is defined by within a geographic area, a disease is no longer found or transmitted at a sustained rate. It does not mean that the disease is actually gone. Outbreaks are still possible, but they are usually due to the part of the population that is unvaccinated. Diseases that have been deemed eliminated are cholera, diphtheria, malaria, measles, polio, rubella, and yellow fever. When a pregnant woman gets a vaccine, both her and the fetus are protected against the virus. This is due to the antibodies that the woman produces being passed down to the fetus. Babies are too young to receive some vaccines, but still need protection until they reach the approved age to get the vaccines directly. Here are some vaccines that are strongly recommended to be given to a pregnant woman to protect both her and the baby: whooping cough, flu, RSV, COVID-19, hepatitis A and B, tetanus, and diphtheria. Continuing to talk about vaccines given at specific times of one's life, most vaccines are administered at certain ages. The list of vaccines recommended by age may seem overwhelming, but they are worth it in order to receive the protection that you need to stay safe. Within 24 hours of birth, dose 1 of hepatitis B is administered if the vaccine was not given during pregnancy. Within 1 week of birth, RSV is administered if the baby is born during RSV season and the RSV vaccine was not received during pregnancy. Within 2 to 6 months old, doses 1 through 3 of rotavirus, tetanus, diphtheria, influenza type B, pneumococcal, poliovirus, and the final doses of hepatitis B are administered. 6 months old receives COVID-19 and flu vaccines. 12 months receives dose 1 of both measles, mumps, and rubella and hepatitis A, along with dose 4 of pneumococcal. 15 months receives dose 1 of varicella, dose 4 of both tetanus and diphtheria and influenza type B. 18 months receives dose 2 of hepatitis A. 4 to 5 years receives dose 5 of tetanus and diphtheria, dose 4 of poliovirus, dose 2 of measles, mumps, and rubella, and dose 2 of varicella. 11 to 12 years begins getting tetanus and diphtheria boosters every 10 years, along with dose 1 and 2 of HPV, with the doses being separated by at least 5 months, and dose 1 of meningococcal. 16 years receives the second dose of meningococcal. Every year, it is recommended to get the COVID-19 booster if available, along with the influenza vaccine. Every 10 years, it's recommended to get the tetanus and diphtheria vaccine. Continuing on the topic of the COVID-19 vaccine, scientists at Pfizer utilized a tool to assist in the development of their COVID-19 vaccine, a tool that not many would think to be useful: AI. But how? Well, when a clinical trial for a vaccine ends, it can take over a month for scientists to manually inspect for coding errors or other anomalies within a dataset. But by using an AI machine called Smart Data Query, scientists at Pfizer were able to review the data for their COVID-19 vaccine just 22 hours after the end of the trial. The vice president and head of data monitoring and management at Pfizer, Dimitri Zambas, says the AI tool, really has had a significant impact on the first pass quality of our clinical data and the speed through which we can move things along and make decisions. This incredible decrease in time for data results to be finalized leaves scientists much more time to study the vaccine and make it as effective as possible. But this is just one small example of how AI can assist in the creation of vaccines. Los Alamos National Laboratory has started a program called RAPTOR, which stands for Rapid Assessment of Platform Technologies to Expedite Responses. This program combines AI with lab experiments to create a tool that helps predict the most effective vaccine for diseases. Raptor works by taking the genetic sequence data of a pathogen to lay out the best options for a vaccine development. Scientists have trained the AI to curate information from valid sources in order to create vaccines. This is done by the Raptor team making models and data sets of the immunity process in order for the AI to understand and better identify patterns of relevant details in the sources that it takes information from. The scientists of Raptor hope to use the AI as an innovative tool to cut down on time spent looking for helpful information to create vaccines. Scientists do not wish to utilize AI as a replacement for vaccine developers. They just want to maximize time and resources in order to create vaccines that have very impactful outcomes. As amazing as vaccines are, they can be hard to access. Just in 2024 alone, more than 14.3 million children under the age of 1 did not receive basic vaccines. Over half of these children live in the following countries: Angola, Afghanistan, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Ethiopia, India, Indonesia, Nigeria, Pakistan, Sudan, and Yemen. Thankfully, organizations such as Gavi, the CDC, and UNICEF work to make vaccines available to underprivileged countries. These life saving organizations coordinate with governments, communities, and partners to do things like supply vaccines and proper storage for them, along with providing correct information regarding vaccines so that individuals can understand the process. Now, there are many different concerns and fears towards many different vaccines, the most common and the most recent being directed at the COVID-19 vaccine. As of August 2025, the most common concern or fear of the COVID-19 vaccine among adults was possible serious or unknown side effects. While these concerns are valid to have, looking at data is very important to keeping yourself informed about the side effects of the vaccine. According to the CDC, the most reported side effects of the COVID-19 vaccine were pain or soreness at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle or joint pain, chills, fever, nausea, and vomiting. Just from this data alone, it is clear that the only side effects, if any, were very minimal, and nothing compared to symptoms that unvaccinated individuals faced when they actually got COVID 19, which, for people not vaccinated against the virus, often required a hospital visit. This graph, published by the CDC, shows the difference in hospital visits for COVID 19 relative to if the person is vaccinated against COVID 19. It is very obvious that unvaccinated individuals ended up in the hospital much more than those who were vaccinated. Another common concern that made its way into the stories of many news stations is that vaccines cause autism. This belief began when Andrew Wakefield, an English anti vaccine activist, conducted a study to prove that the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine causes autism in children. His hypothesis was that the vaccine causes intestinal inflammation that leads to harmful proteins entering the bloodstream. When those proteins reach the brain, they cause a development of autism. Numerous scientists and health officials have debunked this very incorrect theory of Wakefield's. First, Wakefield received his data from 8 children who had intestinal complaints and got diagnosed with autism within 1 month of receiving the MMR vaccine. This is flawed due to the fact that 90% of children in England received the vaccine at the time of the paper being written. Since the vaccine is administered around the same age that autism is diagnosed, which is 12 to 24 months, it would be expected that most children with autism would have received the MMR vaccine. While this could be observed as a link between autism and the vaccine, there is no official data that even somewhat validates this belief. The second flaw with this study is that intestinal symptoms were observed after symptoms of autism in all 8 children. This invalidates Wakefield's claim that harmful autism causing proteins enter the brain from intestinal inflammation sourced from the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. A lot of theorists like to make the point that autism has increased along with the increase in vaccinations. Something they may not realize is that autism has always been present in individuals, it's just much more studied now, which means it's more recognized and diagnosed more. Now, obviously, it is normal for people to have concerns about something being injected into their bodies. Because of this, it is very important that you consult doctors, nurses, medical scientists, or another health professional with any questions you may have. Another important component of vaccines are booster shots. Booster shots are extra doses of a vaccine that may be received weeks, months, or even years after the primary dose. Just as their name suggests, these shots boost the immune system by tricking the body into thinking a virus has entered. When this happens, the body creates more antibodies, which strengthens the immune system. Viruses that currently have available booster shots include COVID-19, the flu, and Tdap. Now you may be wondering, why do only certain vaccines require booster shots? Well, scientists are not completely sure, but a strong belief is that it is due to the rate at which certain viruses multiply or mutate. A virus mutation can happen when an error has occurred during replication. This means that their DNA or RNA sequence has accidentally been altered. Some alterations allow the virus to become immune to the original vaccine given. Thus, booster shots are created after scientists identify the key mutations and create a new shot for the newly mutated virus. An example of this is the yearly flu vaccine, which scientists slightly alter after each year in order for it to target the newly mutated flu virus. Even though the booster shots on top of the original vaccine may seem like a lot, boosters greatly strengthen your immunity, leading to a much lower chance of contracting a virus. While planning for this video, I was fortunate enough to obtain an interview with a nurse who works at the University of Michigan Hospital. The first question I asked her was, in a summary, why are vaccines important? She responded, they can prevent serious illnesses and complications that can lead to hospitalization and death. Next, I asked if you had to pick one, which vaccine is most important. She responded, that is difficult. I feel that all are important, but I saw firsthand how many lives were saved with the COVID-19 vaccine. I do believe that without the vaccine, we would still be witness to many deaths. I then asked, have vaccines made a noticeable difference in the amount of patients who come into hospitals with various diseases? She responded, yes. As of current, we are seeing a high number of hospitalizations for influenza. Many of those are not vaccinated. We are still seeing a high number of COVID patients, but again, many of those are unvaccinated. By time we see them, they are past the point of any antivirals being effective, so treatment is fluids, oxygen therapy, and fever reducing/pain medication. The next question was, what are the most common reasons why people do not want to get vaccinated? She responded, my personal opinion is fear from what other people are saying. The opinions of political figures and other public figures weigh heavily on citizens. There are risks with anything in life. You can get an infection from something like cutting your finger or piercing your ears, but people continue to take those risks. Why? Because people are not talking about the dangers of those things. When you get a tattoo, you sign a long form that talks about the dangers, but again, nobody reconsiders that action. I have also seen declining numbers in current COVID-19 and flu vaccines being administered. I believe that is from vaccine fatigue. We need to get back to publicly putting the facts out there and replaying the COVID-19 vaccine commercials as they had in the past. The next question was, what are the largest differences in vaccines or administration between now and when you began your career in healthcare? She responded, previously before, it was believed that you should never have more than one in the same arm or on the same day. That information has been updated to reflect that it is safe. I then asked, what do you think was the largest advancement in vaccines? She responded, the mRNA vaccine is a huge advancement. That technology provides a better immune response. The next question was, what is some untrue information that you have heard about vaccines? She responded that it contains tracking information for the government. Another one of my favorites is that it causes your appearance to age faster. The final question I asked was, is there any extra information that you feel is of importance? She responded, I was a nurse in the ER at the start of COVID. I saw firsthand the results of that virus. I saw children die, I saw teenagers die, I saw people that ran marathons die. That virus is not exclusive to just a certain group as some believe. Everyone can get it at any time. This is whether you are vaccinated or not, but breakthrough cases are far less severe and do not usually result in hospitalization. As an ICU nurse now, the most frustrating thing for me to hear is people say they wish they would have just got the shot. It is too late at that point. As I stated earlier, putting the facts and advertisements back out there can help to save more lives.